Good morning and welcome to your TVC News here in Clarence-Rockland. It's Friday the 26th of February. My name is Thomas Stockting and thank you for joining me as we bring you your latest regional update. In your headlines this week, a local COVID update, a concerned resident talks about clear cutting, new surgeries on offer in Hawkesbury, Little Rays receive federal financial support, and we catch up with a recently qualified personal support worker. The Eastern Ontario Health Unit has reported that all residents of high-risk long-term care facilities and retirement homes have received their first dose of the vaccine against COVID-19. Next, the EOHU will proceed with priority groups in the coming weeks. This includes second doses for residents, then vaccinating staff, inpatients, highest priority healthcare workers, and then to finish phase 1, the adults of 80 years and older. The speed of this deployment will change as the EOHU gains further access to different vaccines, and that is in condition of their approval by the Canadian government, of course. These doses will be administered in mobile clinics, mass clinics, drive-through clinics and fixed site clinics, as well as at times being administered at home for those who tend to be a little more homebound. We will provide you with the local locations as they become available. Here's Dr. Paul Roumeliotis from the EOHU to explain a little further about the vaccine rollout.
Essentially, what we're doing is because of we had to pivot, if you recall, around the end of January because we didn't have enough supply. Initially, probably in about 6 or 7 homes, we vaccinated long-term care employees. But then moving forward, we were told just to vaccinate residents because we didn't have enough vaccine. So we did the whole round of those homes. The long-term care, and then we started doing retirement homes. So now what's happening is as we go back, we catch up and we're giving second doses to the retirement, to the long-term care. We're catching we're getting the employees there, but obviously they're going to miss a dose and we're not going to go back because we've already done the residents second time. So now we have, as I said before, that's why we created special clinics for them to be able to come. We have six clinics throughout the East Ontario Health Unit area where they can come, make an appointment and get vaccinated.
This week, the EOHU also shared the results of the Provincial Safety Information and Enforcement Campaign, which they began before last Christmas. 263 businesses in the region were visited, with 59% found to have not committed any violations. Of the remaining 41%, 145 violations were observed. Most of the infractions were related to inadequate screening, not sufficiently enforcing mask requirements, and the lack of a proper workplace safety plan. To see the full results, please head to the EOHU website, or you can find them on the TVC 22 Facebook page. Clear-cutting of trees in the local region has been causing quite the stir recently, with concerned residents raising their voices as large areas of forest are being cut down. In Alfred Plantagenet, a former teacher raised the alarm when she noticed a portion of the wooded area she tends to walk through disappear overnight. TVC 22's Stephanie Simard caught up with Lisa Saint-Aubin as she speaks of her worries and the action she would like to see her local council taking.
Well, because for me, if they can cut down half a forest in 2 nights, if they can do that, how much forest can they cut down in a year, in 5 years? And where is this happening? And from my research, it's happening all over the area, except now it's in my backyard, and I cannot ignore that. And I can't ignore that from my little town. I can't ignore that from my students who live all over the area. It would be completely irresponsible of me as an educator to, on the one hand, promote little activities where we plant trees, and then on the other hand, allow something like this to happen without saying anything.
And what have you been doing to raise awareness or to fight this?
Oh, goodness. In 2 or 3 weeks, it's been a pretty crazy ride. It started with an angry Facebook Live video because I had immediately called the person who's on a municipal council who represents the environment, Ian Walker, and I didn't receive much of a response. And then I reached out to Stéphane Sarrazin, our mayor, no response. And you know, Francis Drouin, no response. So I was very frustrated, very, very, very frustrated. And I hold our leaders accountable because they represent their people and they should be protecting the areas where our people live. And I know they have municipal plans for development, but there's no transparency. Yeah, I've had a lot of people reach out to me behind the scenes and tell me their stories, whether it be people who are hunting or fishing or farmers or concerned citizens. A lot of people have been saying it's been happening on concessions that we don't see as much. So what I've discovered is that this area in particular the first part that I found out was that it's a 1,300-acre piece of land owned by Bonfield. And Bonfield is a company that will approach farmers, and there are more than one company that does that. They approach farmers and say, you know what, if you sell us your forested lands, we will turn it into agricultural land for you and then release it to you. The problem I have with that is that if everyone does that, we will have no forests left. The second problem I have with that is that this information is being withheld from us by our politicians. So they knew a year ago that this isn't just 1,300 acres, this is 6,000 acres that they own. And it's on a ridge. And the zoning for this is not just agricultural. I can't see farmers going up that hill, maybe, you never know. But 6,000 acres that this one company owns on this ridge. How many other properties do they own that they haven't cut down yet and that they're not alerting the public to? I just think that it's wrong, and at the same time they're promoting that they're wanting an official plan to protect the environment and to have some kind of sustainable development happening. I don't see it right now. So I reached out to South Nation. I submitted a formal request to see that, if they could do anything. And what they told me is that as long as there's no bylaws in place, that they can do nothing really, unless it is an already protected region. They have specific regions that they can look into. But everybody is seeming to point the finger at everyone else and say, well, it's not us, it's them. And as long as they don't have any kind of rules in place, people can do whatever they want. Now, I've been told that there's going to be a bylaw coming forth, maybe in the summer. However, last year, if they knew a year ago that this was going to happen, which is what I've learned, they knew a year ago that Bonfield had bought this property. If they knew a year ago and they did not alert the public, even if they're telling me that they're going to put forth a bylaw, where's the political will to make that bylaw happen? And where's the political will to actually enforce it?
We've contacted the local council in Alfred Plantagenet and we'll be bringing you their response on this topic in the coming weeks. Looking a little further east now, there are new services available for the residents of Prescott-Russell in Hawkesbury. The Hawkesbury General Hospital is now offering outpatient hip and knee replacement surgery. A team of world-class surgeons using the latest medical advances will be able to perform joint replacements that do not require the patient to stay in hospital overnight. To find out a little bit more on these procedures, we spoke to Dr. Miranda, the Chief of Medical Staff at the HGH, as well as Dr. Bolle, the Chief of Orthopaedics for the Ottawa Hospital and HGH, who is currently leading the surgical team.
Well, what the Hawkesbury Hospital really support us is buying equipment so that permits us to do the operations without detaching muscles, especially for the hip replacement. So basically you go in and you replace you don't touch the engine, the muscle. So you just put a new part, and then the engine's ready to go. The muscles are ready to go. But to get that, you need special equipment, and they brought it right there to start off from the get-go. And that's really permitted people to return to normal activities, stair climbing within the day of their surgery. And as well as they've brought in the most latest advance in joint replacement at the knee replacement, hip replacement. So the finest technology that will provide people with a great satisfaction, very long-term durability on the implants, and little to no pain after their surgery.
But as with everything, there must be some kind of risk. So what risks does this technique pose?
Well, any surgery carries risk of infection and procedure not going as planned. But the support from the HEH, they sent their staff to our where we operate here, as well as the Ottawa Hospital, and to learn the technique. Obviously, we've graduated into the volume, so we're not doing too many cases during the day, so the team can get familiar. And so those are the risks. It is when you're starting to fly a plane for the first time, you got to make sure you get used to all the different input you're getting, the tools. But so far, we've got a great track record by working as a team, having good communication, and great support from the administration, and including Dr. Maranda.
One of the ways we've been able to mitigate some of that risk in starting a new program is that we're not starting with fresh new staff. We're starting with a partnership, a regional collaboration. So we're bringing in world-renowned surgeons like Dr. Bollet, who are coming with their years of experience and expertise out to Hawkesbury to be able to provide our community with tertiary level state-of-the-art care. Now, the yin and the yang to that is that we have a very well-developed hospital that is already extremely high performing, ranked, very highly in all measures of accreditation. And we have a very engaged team of emergency department physicians, as well as hospitalist physicians, anesthesiologists, physiotherapists, nursing, multidisciplinary teams that have a very vested interest in this program succeeding. And they're all very much wanting to support the orthopedics team, as well as the orthopedics team wanting to support our community. So it's only by working together like that that we're able to provide a service that is high quality, low risk, and minutes away from most people's homes.
The Hawkesbury demographic, of course, due to its location, is it is very split in terms of people who work there and people who visit there between our province here in Ontario, as well as the neighbouring province of Quebec. So I know that to get referred to these surgeries, you have to go through your family doctor. But do you have to be covered under OHIP, or can people from Quebec get some eligibility as well?
We have the advantage of being near the border, such that we do not require any co-payment. We do not require tons of paperwork. So we're a Canadian hospital. We serve all Canadians without prejudice. And there are no barriers to achieving the care you need.
Fantastic. And just as a touching note with you guys, what other kind of benefits can this clinic provide to the region?
Yeah, I think that I want to just, as Dr. Maranda mentioned, we really want to help everyone and to help the community, and we need to, especially during a pandemic, we need to help each other. So we're all Canadians. We want to support everyone and provide great care closer to home. And for a lot of people, Hawkesbury General District Hospital is the one closer to home. And I think these type of partnership we need to see more of versus less. And really maximize our use of resources. And I'm originally from Quebec City, so I love working in French and then reminiscing about old French Canadian TV shows, Quebec shows. We have a great time. And so I think, to me, culturally, it's fantastic. Always have a mix of different aspects. In terms of other benefits, really, the other thing that people don't really pay attention is that musculoskeletal disease is the #1 cause of chronic disability in the world. So by providing quicker expert access in Hawkesbury, people can go back to their work. and enjoy their lives and get sleep better. So that is what we really bring to the region, is people being able to not only go back to enjoying their lives, but also a productive work life. So those are the benefits, and not just joint replacement, shoulder issues. If you have a torn tendon, rotator cuff in your shoulder, that is extremely painful. If you have a foot problem, a knee that locks. We even do adolescent. We have our colleague from the Children's Hospital that comes and does reconstruction of ligaments and hip issues in the young adolescent, 14 to 16. So you really have a really well diverse program in Hawkesbury to service the whole community, which I think is really unique, actually.
Now, businesses across the world have suffered from this global pandemic, as we well know. And we've been shining light on a lot of local businesses within our region over the past couple of weeks. But despite a variety of relief funds and loans available, some of these businesses have expenses that they just can't shy away from. This is the case for Little Ray's Nature Centre, one of the largest exotic animal rescue sanctuaries in North America. In the last 12 months, Little Ray's has seen a drop of income of over 90%. Yet, in that time, their expenses have pretty much stayed the same. With hundreds of different species of animals to feed and a variety of controlled climates required, the team at Little Ray's have been struggling to make ends meet since they had to shut their doors to the public last year. Last week, though, some positive news as local MP Francis Drouin announced a federal financial aid for the Nature Centre. But there was a little bit of confusion over the wording of the press release, as the allocated $366,000 is not a grant, but a loan. Would you need?
Yeah, and I'm glad you asked that question, Thomas, because Francis Drouin, our MP, has been great with us. But even when his announcement went out that we got more funding from the Regional Relief and Recovery Fund, it makes that sound like a grant. We haven't got a grant yet for anything. But we did get something that's called the FedDev Ontario Regional Relief and Recovery Fund, which is a loan. But it's even frustrating when I see this go out, that the government is sending out press releases making it sound like we're getting grants, and we're not. We have to pay back 100% of that money. It is an interest-free loan. There's no payments until 2023. It's a great loan. I just don't know why they're releasing it, making it sound like it's a grant. And I have people congratulating me that we got a grant, and we didn't. We got another loan, and that's where we've now borrowed $915,000 that has to be paid back.
So this latest grant, this latest loan, as it turns out, that you received a couple of weeks ago of over $300,000, is a loan. It's interest-free, but it's going to have to be repaid as well. So it's carrying on those expenses going forward. We are together today in your facility just outside of Ottawa, but it's not the only one you have. How are the other facilities faring at the moment, and how are they doing in trying to pick up provincial and federal loans from their own areas?
We do have a location that's in Hamilton as well that's in the exact same situation we're in. All of these programs, like that $365,000 loan we just got, that's helping to cover the expenses here and there. So when I say we've borrowed $915,000, that's for all of our Canadian operations. We do have a location in the US that is a lot closer to breaking even, but they're open. So we're inside of a museum, it's open, it's been open there since the end of September. So we are losing money in the US as well, but a fraction compared to what we're losing here.
And lately you've been pushing and the community has been pushing to support Little Ray's here, I believe through a bottle drive. Can you talk to us about how successful that's been so far?
So we actually have a bottle drive and we have a GoFundMe campaign. The bottle drive ended on the 15th. It was ridiculously successful. We had over 200,000 bottles and cans come in. So we were able to generate about $20,000. We do have a GoFundMe campaign going right now because we've calculated we have an $840,000 shortfall that is going to be for the rest of the year, and we're reaching our limit in terms of borrowing capacity that we can reasonably, based on our current obligations, get out of it. So we're trying to raise $840,000. Our GoFundMe is up over $200,000. The public has been unbelievable. The outpouring of support has been fabulous. So we are releasing a few new programs as well. other ways that people can support us, some actually virtual festival stuff they can participate in. And we're doing obviously Zoom birthday parties. There's a video walkthrough going on right now in the zoo. So we're trying to pivot and do as much as we can to generate as much revenue as we can to minimize our losses.
And this is very much worst case scenario, and I really regret to have to ask you to cast your mind down this avenue.
Yeah.
But what is the doomsday scenario for you? What happens if you cannot reach that money? What happens to the animals?
You know, we've already had conversations with the province of Ontario, the Solicitor General's office in Ontario. I will say the province of Ontario is working very hard for us right now. They do recognize that we have been a backstop for the province of Ontario. We're the ones they call if there's some seizure and something going on to help them. So there's a major problem when one of their main partners for helping with this stuff is saying we might not be able to care for the animals anymore. You know, our concern is I would believe 30 to 40% of the animals in our care, and I hate even, you know, saying this, and my staff always say you have to say it, you have to say it. Well, 30 to 40% of the animals in our care would be facing euthanasia. I think if the province was to step in, they would do their best, but they would realize that we really have been the last resort for many of these animals. And so, you know, and that's the part I don't like to think about very much, and that's what keeps me up at night.
Yeah, and again, terribly sorry to ask, but it is one of those where as we face down the barrel of the gun with this, we have to know what the worst case scenario is. You said there was a great outpouring of support from the community. The federal government and provincial government, as you say, come to you with animals when there's when they seize them illegally, for example. So what are you hoping the government can do next, and what can the community do to continue helping you?
Our goal right now, I think it's reasonable that with the support we're getting from just through our GoFundMe right now, I think we're going to reasonably get to 40-50% of our goal, and ultimately we're looking for the province to be able to, or the Fed, somebody to step in and help us with that extra, you know, shortfall of upwards of $400,000 to even $500,000 that we're going to have. So, you know, that is what I'm fighting for right now, and I believe if we can make it to January, we're going to be able to start to crest the hill and get to the other side of this.
And latest restrictions have loosened a little bit. Are you accepting customers back in yet?
Yes, we are. Yeah, so we do just for private groups. So they have to book in advance. We are taking private groups that are coming. That's just been a godsend even for our staff. You know, like being in here caring for animals every day and not being able to share our passion with people, that's not why people work for us. So last Tuesday we had our first visitors in, and I think when they walked in, you just saw everybody in the building. You saw their eyes just light up, and I think we talked to them for 10 minutes before the tour even started just to welcome them. So that's been really refreshing for us.
Well, Paul Litteray, thank you so much for donating some of your time to speak to us today. I wish you all the best, as well as the animals and the staff that work here, and hopefully the federal, provincial governments and the community can continue to support this fantastic sanctuary.
Thank you so much, Thomas.
Last October, in light of the health sector labour shortages that were made so apparent by the pandemic, the Employment Services Centre in Hawkesbury announced that they'll be training nearly 100 personal support workers to help out in our region. The Francophone course is still ongoing, but the English stream has just finished, and we caught up with recent graduate Amy Sauvé as she told us why she wanted to make this new career move.
This is kind of new to me. Like I said earlier, I decided on a career change last January. This was just a little bit before the pandemic. I left my job as a machinist, and I love my job. I love the people I work with, but I just felt in my heart I needed something a little bit more rewarding at the end of the day. So I found myself going, looking in the papers and jobs, and it's like, there's got to be something else out there. So I found myself into the Unemployment Service Center in Hawkesbury, my local area. And a wonderful man that works there, coordinator, he offered, he kind of threw this out that there's a course being offered for free. So I said, I looked into it, and I hummed and hawed. I went home and thought about it, and it didn't take me long to think about it. I said, why not? Why not take a course? It's being offered for free. We're in a pandemic. I got nothing else to do. So I filled up my 5 months quite well. And, 5 months ago, I didn't have a job. 5 months later, I'm happy in a new career and trying out something new.
Now, we spoke a little bit off camera before this as well about some of the inspiration that led you down this kind of carer path. So can you talk to us a little bit about your inspiration to take on this personal support workers course and why you hold it to heart?
Yes, well, you do have to have a heart to work in this kind of type of career. But my inspiration, my number one inspiration, and my inspiration my whole entire life was my grandmother. We were very close. She was more of a mother to me than anything. And she passed away, I think, 4 years ago now. She was a stroke victim in her young years, 50 some. She had a stroke. And being a hard-willed family that we are, she wanted to stay living at home. No way did she want to be put into a facility. You know, she loved still her cooking. Although she was paralyzed one side, she managed to do many more things than most folks that have, you know, proper functions. So she always wanted me to be a nurse. And as time goes on, you know, busy job, busy career, kids, you know, life kind of goes by quick. And here I am at 46 years old, and I've been missing my grandmother quite a bit because I used to help her out with a lot of things. And I just decided to take this course to kind of pay it forward on other folks that need assistance at home. You know, what better place to live in your own home and give the care that they need, our company. So my inspiration was my grandmother, and I'm paying it forward, and I owe all this course and what I've been through dedicated to her. And that's kind of where I got my inspiration on doing it. So I'm not quite a nurse yet. So I said, I'll take the baby steps. I'll become a PSW. And by taking this course, you can further and further and go up with little courses and add on. And who knows what another 5 months will bring me.
It's a fantastic source of inspiration, such a lovely, heartwarming story, this relationship you have with your grandmother. And you touched on it a little bit there. I mean, we did an interview a few weeks ago with the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus, who did a review into long-term care centres and retirement homes. And the big thing they came back with was talking about how it really increases longevity as well as great mental health. To keep people in their homes for as long as possible. So you touched on it a little bit in your previous answer, but I take it through your PSW, your personal support workers course. Now, you're not heading straight into a retirement home or anything of this sort. You're doing very much individual care, aren't you?
Yes, I've in my training, we got to, you know, if you take this course, you're going to touch upon all kinds of different sectors of becoming a personal support worker. And some I really didn't know about. I thought, you know, people just think you get old, you get put in a retirement home, and that is not the case at all. So I did work in a retirement home and a long-term care, but I've chosen more to just do home care, which is providing care to people in need in their own homes. So what I do is I'll go to someone's home, help them out with things they just can't quite do, or simply just keeping them company, especially in this time pandemic. You know, not everyone can see their family or loved ones or grandkids. So you can get, you know, on the downside depressed quite quick, you know, without some little company. So the home care ranges all kinds of services. Right now I'm working with a company that deals with people who were in motor vehicle accidents. So let's just say you're in an accident and, you know, you busted up your ribs, your legs. That's going to cause some conflicts for you living in your own home. So I would come and help you out, help you with your baths, your house cleaning, mental support, anything that you would desire to help make your day a little bit better than to be stuck in a hospital room, you know, confined.
And that's it for the end of this program. If you want to hear a little more from the interviews in this or any of our previous programs, you can watch most of them in a longer format on our YouTube channel. We're also, as always, actively looking for volunteers and civilian journalists. So if you're interested in taking up a local hobby, get in touch. We'd love to have you. And if you have a news story you'd like to share, then get in touch with me too. You can reach me by email at nouvelle, with an S at the end, at tvc22.ca, or by phone on 613-446-6037, extension number 4. Or of course, you can find us on any of our social media channels. Have a lovely weekend, Clarence-Rockland, and I'll catch you same time, same place next week. Bye.